Donor advised funds and trust are probably two of the more complicated, but also have massive impacts if done correctly. And um, John, I'm gonna name these two, and then we'll jump to the next slide because it has a better diagram to talk through them. But there are two trusts that come up a lot of times when we think about structured giving. You have the Charitable Lead Trust and the Charitable Remainder Trust. And if we think about the words lead and remainder, that basically defines when the charity is going to get money on a very simple level. So, with a charitable lead trust, a donor takes their gift and they put it into a trust and they designate a beneficiary. And the beneficiary of the trust will receive the assets that the donor puts in sometime in the future. But while those assets are in the trust for a pre-specified set of time, which could be years or for the life of the donor, for example, the the charity is going to receive an annuity or a fixed payout over time. John, can you
Michael,
flip to
do
the
you
next
want me?
slide for me?
I was just about to ask you. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, so at the top here, Charitable Lead Trust, donor puts money into a trust, and the charity receives payments for maybe the life of the donor or for a set amount of years. And then the money flows to beneficiaries. Why is that really interesting? Well, it leaves the donor's estate. And while the estate numbers have been lifted. They're currently somewhere around 23 million with inflation right now for a husband or a wife or two spouses. Um, if you were somebody who was on that threshold, you'd be able to say, for example, put money into the trust and have a 20-year payout, and then it go to your children, and it bypasses that entire estate process. So your children or your estate don't have to pay estate tax on it. Now, I'm not giving you tax advice because I'm not a CPA, I'm a lowly CFA, but this is a strategy that we would want to consult with our tax advisor and our attorneys. The flip side to that is the charitable remainder trust, in which a donor puts money into a trust, and the donor or other beneficiaries may receive a payment, whether it's a fixed dollar amount or a fixed percentage, for a certain amount of years or for their life. And at the end of the life or percentage of time, the assets flow to the charity. So there's two different ways to time it. And there's different ways to structure these things. They can be very complicated. They can be very simple. But this is something where you'd sit down with a planner, an attorney, and a CPA to structure this correctly.